Taking the boat. He didn't wear the leather shirt.
I got no service down here.
Good evening, and welcome to our
No, I don't not like it. But I did, I'll tell it up there, when I did it once, and 2 days later, I was sick for 4
No, you
days.
told me that last time.
And then if someone's sick, gives it to me, I shake everybody else's hand, that's how it's spread. You don't want to be sick and die.
Smart.
It's great to see all of you here. We're very pleased to have Mr. Jesse Ventura signing and discussing his latest book, 63 Documents the Government Doesn't Want You to Read. Mr. Ventura has authored other best-selling titles, such as American Conspiracies, which is available tonight. Mr. Ventura has a rich and varied background. He was the former governor of Minnesota, a former pro wrestler, and a former Navy SEAL. Mr. Ventura also has his own television show called Conspiracy Theory. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Jesse Ventura.
Well, it's great to be back in Archie Bunker's hometown. Well, I guess, what else? Queens, also the Prince of Zamunda came here, didn't he? Looking for his wife. So I guess that's what makes Queens famous.
Eddie Murphy's second greatest movie.
What's his first?
Trading Places.
Bloody
Come on,
professor.
Aaron Russo. Aaron Russo.
Anyway, thank you. Just a few things about the book. It was a difficult book for me to write, really. The concept came to us by Skyhorse Publishing. You know, after it was my publisher, after I wrote American Conspiracies, they came up with the idea and they brought it to Dick Russell and myself, my co-writer. And again, I want to give great credit to Dick because we make a pretty good team. He's phenomenal at research. I hate it. I don't have the patience for it. So Dick does all the finding of the stuff. Then, of course, he brings it to me. I read it and write about it. And this book was difficult to write because, you know, let me say there's a lot of great people in government. A lot of dedicated people, a lot of patriotic people, and everything of the sort. But when you read the documents in this book, and we do reprint them all, it's not me telling you about the documents. Each document is printed in the book. You can read it for yourself, but they're bad, some of them. And when you read them, you can't believe that these documents were done by the United States of America. That we have people in our government, obviously, that are very evil. And especially when you read about some of the things that have been done. And, you know, a couple of the things, I don't know if you know, but we went all the way back basically from, we picked out, first let me back up, we picked the number 63. And we chose that because that was the year President Kennedy was assassinated and murdered. And we thought that that was a good number to have, you know, 63. So we chose the 63 documents. We moved forward from, basically they started right after World War II. And it's very disturbing when you hear how our country went down into Nicaragua in the late 40s, early 50s, and infected hundreds of, for lack of better term, street people, you know, people that weren't high on the echelon, with syphilis. Infected them with syphilis to see if penicillin would work. Thank goodness it did. Or what a horrific death all these people would have faced. But they weren't volunteers. You know, nobody was volunteering for this. And then we go on to find documents where they've even used our own soldiers, our own military guys, for experimenting. And, you know, I was told you're not supposed to say the word Nazi. I got told that today by Joy Behar. And, you know, you can't, well, I think I can. And the reason I say that is the behavior was like what I had expected to be. Well, the reason I say I think I can, because both my mother and father served in the World War II. Not many people can say that their mother is a World War II vet, and they were both over fighting them. And of course, my brother and I are both Vietnam veterans. But, you know, when your parents went to war against them, I think you earned the right to talk about them. You know, if your parents put their life on the line to get rid of them. And, you know, then we move forward to another document that just stunned me. The CIA's assassination manual. Now, assassination is just a fancy word for first-degree murder. Pre-planned with maybe a political tint to it. So it's called and we have a manual that tells how to do it, all sorts of stuff, how to get away with it, who are the best guys they look for to pull it off. And the last time I checked, now maybe you all know better than me, but I think murder's illegal in every country in the world. And then the question begs, who decides who dies? Well, I mean, just because there's a leader or somebody in another nation somewhere, we can just go out and arbitrarily kill them because maybe they don't believe in the same government we believe in. And so documents like that were stunning to me, that our government, has them. The other thing is too, none of these documents did we violate any. They're all in the public domain. You just gotta find them. And in the back of the book, we list in the epilogue, for those of you interested that like to go searching, we listed a lot of key places where you can find documents of this nature if you want to know about them and read about them. And I think we need to know. I don't know about you, but to me, WikiLeaks are heroes. I don't care. They're heroes. And I'm worried about this young Bradley Manning, this young Army private that we're currently holding down in Quantico right now in solitary confinement. And you know why I worry about him? Because we are now a country that tortures. We no longer have the high ground anymore of being able to stand tall and proud and say the United States of America would never torture. That's not true anymore. And I can speak to that, ladies and gentlemen, because I have been waterboarded. I know what waterboarding is. When I was in the Navy, it was a required, if you were going to Vietnam, into anywhere in the combat zone, you were required to go to a school called SEER School, which meant Survival, Escape, Resistance, and Evasion. And it ends where you're in a mock POW camp for 24 hours, where you got hoods on your head, you're put into boxes, all this crazy stuff, and everyone was essentially waterboarded. And later now in my life, I look back at SEER School, and I'll tell you just a story. And I kind of laugh about it, thinking, what an unneeded school for a Navy SEAL. And I'll tell you why. No Navy SEAL will ever be captured. We all take an oath to each other that we will go down in a blaze of glory. There will be, no Navy SEAL has ever been captured, nor will anyone ever be. We go even beyond that. We don't even leave our dead bodies behind. And a good friend of mine, Mike Thornton of SEAL Team 1, proved that when he won the Congressional Medal of Honor, going after his officer whom he presumed was dead, but he wasn't. And Mike ended up saving his life and got the Congressional Medal of Honor for it, which ironically, the first time in history, Mike got the Congressional Medal of Honor saving a Congressional Medal of Honor winner. Never before, I don't believe that's ever happened, where a gentleman got the Medal of Honor saving a Medal of Honor winner. And so it really, I kind of laughed about SEER School later and thought, why would they send us to it? We're not going to get captured. Like I said, we all take an oath. We all look at each other, and we all know we're going down in a blaze of glory if it gets that way. But I'm staying on that mode a little. How do you remember when the pirates took the ship? Yep. And you remember how they sent the 3 SEALs out there, and they made them terrific shots. I was so proud of them. They only took 3 shots, and all 3 were down, and those are water shots, baby. You're bouncing up and down, you're doing all this stuff. Those are difficult. Those are difficult. I even made a poem to it. You want to hear it? Yeah. I was so inspired. It goes, on the night that Jesus Christ supposedly rose from the dead, the Navy SEALs shot 3 pirates straight through the head. Kind of morbid, but, you get bored in Mexico. But anyway, getting back to the book, there are documents in there. Now, these are all the government's documents. They're not mine. I'm not making them up. You can read them in the book. We also deal with 9/11. We show you the documents that prove there was a stand down that day. I always wondered why. Where were our fighter jets during this 2-hour period or whatever it was? Where was our air defense? Well, what happened June 1st that year, there was a change in orders. Up until that year, it was or June 1st of 2001, it was left up to base commanders. That if the FAA called them, they said they got a flight in trouble, it's being hijacked, whatever it might be, the base commander had the ability to scramble the jets and shoot them up there. June 1st of 2001, that policy was changed. Now it required direct permission from the DoD, the Department of Defense, which in essence means you have a stand down if Donald Rumsfeld simply does not answer the phone, because no one has permission then to go airborne. And if you recall back that day, they couldn't locate Rumsfeld for 2 hours that morning. I don't know, well, he was out having coffee at Starbucks, who knows where he was at, but he didn't carry his cell phone with him. And so therefore, it always bothered me. You know, where were our jets that day? Where were they? And this document will tell you where they were. Now that's pretty strong circumstantial. I guess they would say, well, I guess that just happened. Well, there's a great writer who died in 2001, a great American called Colonel L. Fletcher Prouty. And Colonel Prouty always said, still on?
Yes.
Good.
Okay. Colonel Prouty always said,
Now it's off.
it's off?
It's off. Just turn it off. Battery's probably on.
Is there no length the New World Order was conspiracy?
Anyway, Colonel Prouty always said, nothing just happens, everything is planned. And he would know, because from 54 to 64, he was the direct liaison between the CIA and the Pentagon. In other words, when the CIA needed the Pentagon or the military, it had to go through Colonel Prouty. So I put, and you know who he is? How many saw the movie Oliver Stone's JFK? Do you remember the Donald Sutherland character, Mr. X, who he had to fly out and meet with and laid it all out? Well, that character was based completely on Colonel L. Fletcher Prouty.
Executive decision.
What's that?
Executive decision.
Whatever.
That was even worse.
Well, anyway, so, you know, there's the papers in there for 9/11. There, you know, there's all sorts of documents in there that deal, you know, with things of our generation that we know about today. Yeah, you know what? I'll put my glasses on because it's easier to grab the book and I can look at a few of the documents and it sparked my memory.
Executive
Is this
decision.
working
man.
better?
Check
Can we
it
do
out.
something with this thing?
That was
Where
bad.
are they?
That was very bad.
And the Wall Street Bank shorting the stock.
Well, we divided the book into 5 parts. And as you'll know, take a look at the dedication too. I dedicated this book to Congressman Ron Paul, the only federal elected official who will stand up for America on the congressional floor. We divide the book into why you need this book, the introduction, where I'll tell you why you need to read this book pretty well. Then we go to part 1, our scandalous post-war history. Part 2, government, military, and corporate secrets. Part 3, shady White Houses. Part 4, we dedicate a whole section to 9/11, including document number 47, the free fall of Building 7. NIST's own official report tells you it was demoed. They don't say the word demolition, but they admit the building went into total free fall. And because you can time it on how fast it fell and how by the clock. And gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a demolition expert. I spent 3 years with Underwater Demolition Team 12 and 2 years attached to SEAL Team 1. And when a building, so if a building goes into free fall, that means all resistance is removed for it to fall with no, and if anything else is defying Newton's law of gravity. And I don't care what you say, you can't defy physics.